What's up, gamers? It's Mr. Collier. We're going to go through part one of quadratic trig functions, and I'm going to go relatively quickly. If this is too fast or you need more examples, you are already on YouTube, and you are smart enough to find another teacher, perhaps even a better teacher, to show you how to do this. Remember when we did this, and we did a square root of both sides, x equals plus or minus 3? Remember, if you have x squared, you should get two answers. Here we would want to maybe add this the other side. 9x squared equals 1, divide by 9, x squared equals 1 over 9, square root both sides, x equals 1/3, plus or minus. You have to square root the top and the bottom. The reason that we're going over this is because we're going to be doing a lot of these questions where you have something like this. And you're going to end up with 3 over 2. Right? You got to do this top and the bottom square rooted. What if we had something like 3 over 4 square rooted? Well, now square root the top, square root the bottom. Does that look familiar? Right? So this kind of stuff is going to be happening a lot. Once we get here, sine squared x, if you've never seen this, the squared is put in front of the sine, or I guess I should say in front of the x behind the sine, because they don't want it to look like we're talking about the sine of x squared. So this right here is the same thing as the sine of x squared equals 1. It's the same thing, right? We just don't want it to look like this. Now it's like, well, is it supposed to be x squared? Is it supposed to be sine squared? And so we don't like it like that. We sneak the 2 in front of the x. Square root both sides. Sine x equals plus or minus 1. Now here's where it's going to get a little interesting. We are now dealing with 2 possible answers, which could lead us to quite a few angles that are valid. If we think about the sine graph and we're looking for when is it positive 1 or negative 1, I'm expecting to have 2 answers from this question. Up here and down here, I can use maybe my unit circle. Sine is the y values. We're talking degrees. I'm thinking x equals 90, and I'm thinking x equals 270. This is where x equals 1, or I should say sine x equals 1. This is where sine x equals negative 1, but it doesn't matter. They're both answers. Let's go down here. Again, there's algebra and then there's trig. Don't mess up the algebra. Don't stress the algebra. There's 3 cosine squareds. There's another cosine squared. There's a negative 1. I'm going to be adding cosine squared. It's no different than adding x squared, right? 3x squared plus another one, I should have 4 cosine squared. I'm also going to add this one to the other side. So I'm going to have equals 1. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Cosine squared x equals 1 over 4. I'm going to square root both sides. And I'm going to get cosine x is equal to square root 1 over square root 4, which is 1 over 2. When I square root both sides, I need a plus or minus. So now I'm looking for all the places where it is equal to cosine x equals positive 1/2 and cosine x equals negative 1/2. Now that's going to give me quite a few. If I think about my cosine graph, positive 1/2 twice, negative 1/2 twice. So I'm expecting 4 answers from this question. Cosine of 1/2 is going to give me 2 answers. But if we think about it like this, on our unit circle, a smart trig class, cosine is positive, positive, negative, negative. But here's the thing. We want all the positives and all the negatives. So we just want all the reference angles that have to do with cosine of 1/2. We're in still degrees, so that would be 60 degrees. This is quadrant 2, it's going to be negative, but we want that one as well, 120. Quadrant 3, it's going to be negative, but we want that as well, 240. Quadrant 4, it's going to be positive, we definitely want that, 300. And all of those answers are good. Okay. Add 1. 4 sine squared x equals 2. Divide by 4. Sine squared x equals 2 over 4. Square root both sides. Sine x equals plus or minus square root 2 over regular 2. That 4 turns into a regular 2. Let's get the mouse out of the way. Well, square root 2 over 2, that's my 45s. And if I think about a smart trig class, I don't have to think about a smart trig class. I want all of them, the positives and the negatives. That actually kind of makes it easier instead of harder. X is equal to 45, 135, 225, 315, all 4 of them. Sorry. Let's finish up. Divide by 3. Tangent x squared equals 3. Square root both sides. Tangent x equals square root 3. That's a plus or minus. Again, we've talked about the unit circle. I kind of cheat. I like to think about my, all the way over here, my tangents. Square root 3 is up at 60 degrees. And again, I want the pluses and the minus, so I don't care about a smart trig class. I just want, it's all the same as before. 60, 120, 240, 300. It's all 4 answers. All right, that's how you do the first step of solving quadratic trig equations. It's only getting harder from here, so take your time. Make sure you do the algebra right. When it comes to the trig part, I'm telling you, it's easier. You don't have to worry about positives and negatives. You just get all 4 of them and you're done. Sweet.